I, 22 female, moved back home 2 years ago to live with my parents. My family has always been very close, and my parents actually initiated my moving in so I could focus on building my savings. Everything's been great. The house is huge, so no one's living on top of each other, and my mom has been ecstatic over all her kids being home. I take care of my space and shared spaces, doing chores, etc. They've refused any rent or grocery money I've ever offered, insisting I save most of the money I make. My mom grocery shops for the house and always asks each family member what they need from the store for the week. I always ask for a 12-pack of canned lemonade. They're my weak spot. I have 1 or 2 a day. My mom has never had a problem getting it for me. Recently, though, she's been resistant. Thinking it was about the money, I offered to give her $5, and when that didn't help, I just started getting it myself, but she still glared at me when I drank it. I've kept asking what the issue is, but she just walks away, and the next time I see her, she's changed the subject entirely. Things came to a head yesterday when I came home from work with some of my personal groceries, including lemonade. My mom lost it, crying and carrying on about how I don't care about how anyone else feels. I'm at a complete loss, trying to calm her down when she tells me I won't do it under her roof if I continue with these habits. Hearing that, I admit I did snap a bit. I was hurt that she would threaten to kick me out for any reason, considering how close we've always been, but especially since I don't think I've done anything even remotely wrong. We got in a huge back and forth, mainly with me demanding she tells me what's so wrong with me drinking some lemonade, and her sneering at me saying, "You know." I eventually stormed off to my room, feeling torn. My brother came in shortly after to talk. He says he completely understands where I'm coming from, but suggests I do what she's asking and just stop drinking the lemonade. I absolutely could, but at this point, it's sort of the principle. I know I'm living with my parents, but I'm an adult, and I feel I should be allowed to drink my preferred beverage whenever I please, especially if I'm now paying for it and going out to purchase it myself. It is just lemonade, but it goes both ways. My mom shouldn't care about it either, because it's just lemonade. If she's insisting I stop drinking it, or else I'm getting kicked out, I kind of want to take the initiative and leave. I have plenty saved at this point. I feel bad because she's my mom, and she's been so good to me, and has given me the chance to gather the savings I now want to use to get away from her. I also feel bad for yelling at her. My getting worked up didn't help the situation. Am I the idiot for how I acted? And am I the idiot if I left over this? Not the idiot, but I would continue to try to understand. In a calm moment, explain that you're very confused. For the sake of everyone involved, you would like to understand. Are either you or your mother overweight? Does she see your habit as excess calories, not caring about your health, or a temptation for her? Can you ask other people in the house to understand what's going on? I agree, OP. Have you put on any weight recently? My mom always starts having opinions on what I consume when I put on a little weight. You know isn't an answer. Unless this is something that has been endlessly litigated between you, your mom is being evasive. She must feel it's bad in some way, but can't put that into words. Perhaps not into words she knows won't sound silly. And if she still insists that your juice preference is worth kicking you out of the house over, I legitimately think you should, in fact, move out. That's a truly bizarre amount of control for her to think she should get over your life. Does she think it's hard lemonade? Or is she maybe upset about some scandal around the brand that you don't realize? Can your brother find out for you? Like, maybe he can ask her, "Mom, I think sibling would probably be happy to quit drinking the lemonade if they know why, but they don't. I don't either. Can you explain it to me since I'm not in the middle, and maybe I can help sort this out? Please update, as my curiosity over this needs to be satisfied. Good luck." Update. Am I the idiot for wanting to move out over lemonade? Okay, guys. I asked my mom if we could sit down tonight and have a calm conversation about what happened. My dad wasn't home, but I asked my brother to be there too, as sort of a mediator. It was a long, emotional, draining talk, and there wasn't much resolution, but it was very enlightening. Finally, I told her I was mostly concerned for her, since her reaction to something seemingly so small has been increasingly intense, and it's starting to affect our relationship. I expressed that I felt confused and sought clarity, and that I felt hurt by her threats to kick me out in general, because that's not the kind of relationship we have. I told her I didn't know what was up with the lemonade, and practically begged her to open up. She started getting teary, but was mostly calm. Here's her side. Apparently, in May, when this all started, she watched a documentary. They're kind of her thing, and she watches a variety of genres. This particular documentary was about eating disorders. It discussed the culture and history behind it, the influence of social media, and the warning signs. My mom happened to see a lot of the warning signs in me and my behaviors. I will clarify here that I do not and have never struggled with disordered eating of any kind. Some of the behaviors are as follows. She rarely sees me eat. I'm relatively skinny. I wear layers most of the time. I have an Apple Watch, and of course I drink low-calorie drinks, namely zero-sugar lemonade, which I didn't think to mention in the original story because I honestly didn't even think it would be relevant in any way. So basically, she's been anxious this entire time that I'm withering away from an eating disorder, and every time she's alluded or asked or demanded, I stop drinking my diet lemonade, and I continue drinking it anyway. I'm being selfish, flaunting my disordered behaviors, and proving to her that I am in fact sick. That was a lot to take in. I genuinely didn't think it would be that. It never once occurred to me. I defended myself for every point she made, which I'll make again here. I work at a restaurant nearby every day, usually afternoon into the night, so I'm rarely home for lunch or dinner. I get free food at my job, and pretty much every server there eats at least one of their meals during a break, myself included. By the time I get home, I'll have a snack or something before bed, since it's late, and in the morning I'll sometimes have breakfast at home. But a lot of times I'm not hungry in the AM, so I just do my thing until I leave, usually around 12 p.m., and I pick up food with friends or alone on my way. I know it's not the healthiest of habits, nor is it the healthiest of food, but I'm definitely not starving myself or counting calories. But in my worry ward, love her though, mother's eyes, she hardly ever sees me eat. When she sees me eat, I also don't eat large portions, but I don't think that's odd since I'm not large. I'm 5 feet and around 110 pounds. I also wear layers because it's the fashion I like, sort of a vintage 70s grungy look. I have an Apple Watch for the same reason. I assume most people with iPhones have one, which is, why not? It's my dad's old one. Also, it's helpful for me when I'm at work, since I can't carry my phone around. I'm not tracking my steps or anything. And lastly, I honestly, genuinely, just truly like zero sugar lemonade. It has nothing to do with calories or health reasons. I like it. I used to drink regular until they were out of stock one day, so I got zero sugar and found I liked it better because it wasn't as thick or syrupy. That's it. She cried, I cried, she apologized, I apologized. I'm not sure where we go from here, since I can tell she doesn't fully believe me. I'm going to make more of an effort to eat my meals at home, but I'm not going to pig out in front of her just to appease a generally unfounded worry she developed from watching a movie. I might also cut back on the lemonades, since they're clearly a trigger for her, and I need to drink more water anyway. Other than that, I don't think I did anything wrong until now. I need to change my behaviors in an extreme way. I told her, and my brother seconded this, that she needed to stop holding the stuff in and just talk to people, because otherwise, it creates misunderstandings like this. I honestly did feel very hurt by the things she said during our fight, and also by how weirdly distant she's been treating me since all this started. My brother added that if I had been dealing with an eating disorder, the way my mom went about it wasn't helpful and likely could have made it worse. She explained she didn't ever really intend to kick me out, even if I was sick. She just wanted to shock me into admitting that I needed help or something. I told my mom I'd be willing to try therapy if she does, and she said she'd think about it. I think she really needs it. I think there's some trauma there. Hopefully we can both work on communicating better in the future. I'm not moving out, or at least not because of this. If a pattern continues, if she keeps mistrusting me and lashing out or holding things in again, that might change. Thank you guys for all your advice. It honestly helped a lot to know I wasn't the only one thinking that I was going crazy. I know a lot of people guessed she thought it was hard lemonade, which was my most prominent assumption before our talk. Super crazy few days, hoping for the best moving forward. Oh, wow. Sorry, but this is just insane. You're not even underweight. Has your mom always been susceptible to paranoia like this? I'm so glad you had an honest conversation, but your mother seriously needs therapy. This isn't considered a therapy moment. She's showing symptoms of an anxiety disorder and needs professional treatment to help ASAP. Honestly, OP, you did nothing wrong and absolutely shouldn't give up your lemonade. You're not a mind reader or a punching bag. If your mother continues this behavior and refuses to change, then it's time to move away or go low contact. Good luck to you both. My stepsister, Teen, was grounded recently for going on a pretty vicious rant about how much she hates me, same age, and would rather be alone for the rest of her life than to be stuck with me forever. This came after my dad and stepmom planned a Christmas vacation for the first time ever. They can only afford a 2-bedroom cabin, so it would mean my stepsister and I sharing. I hated the idea too, but I knew my stepsister would explode over the idea, so I sat back and allowed her to do the work and get into trouble because I knew it would push her over the edge. She went a little bigger than I expected, honestly. She brought up how my mom abandoned me and said I was unlovable and deserved to be walked out on. She also brought up how I destroyed her family because her mom's parents didn't want to include me, and so my stepmom told them if they treated me differently from my stepsister, then they wouldn't see us anymore. She wished me dead and all kinds of other stuff too. Background: we've been stepsisters since we were 8, and we've never liked each other. We both have issues, her from her dad dying and me from being bullied in school. I know people would expect me to say I have issues from my mom leaving, but my grandma filled that maternal role. So while it sucks, my mom never wanted me. I have a mom figure in the most amazing grandma ever. I can't speak for her, but she was always so angry, and she was jealous that when she and her mom moved in with us, I got to keep my room, and hers was a little smaller, but not by much. I never liked how she treated me over that, and how she'd tell her friends stuff about me. After my stepsister's meltdown, my dad and stepmom wanted to sit down and talk to me. They noticed right away that I wasn't upset or even shocked by the outburst. They said it was okay for me to be hurt about what my sister said. I told them I wasn't. My dad asked to speak to me alone, and he said, "You know you can be honest, kiddo." I told him I wasn't upset about what she said. I told him I didn't care. I said the dislike is entirely mutual, though I would never wish those things on her. He was like, "But you two have been sisters for half your lives now." And I was like, "We were never really sisters. We're more like enemies forced to live together." I said if I had cared, it would have hurt, but I didn't. My stepmom was upset because she listened to what I said. She felt like I shouldn't be so flippant about such a big deal. She also confessed that it hurt her that I didn't care about her daughter and that we didn't regard each other in any kind of familial way. She felt like even with that, I should care because what my stepsister said hurt her and my dad. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Your dad and stepmom needed this wake-up call. They have to start dealing with reality. Also, I know you don't care at all about your stepsister, nor should you, but her mom cutting her grandmother out of her life was a big mistake that added fuel to the fire. Yeah, it's surprising that your parents are clueless about their own daughter's relationship. They should have checked in on you guys to help mediate way before now. The parents caused the problems here. Both of your kids have suffered the consequences of your pretenses. Your stepsister lost her father and her home when she had to move in with you, and then her mother cut off her grandparents because they didn't have the same bond with you. That's a lot of trauma she's blaming you for when it's her mother and your enabler father that caused it. Agree. I love how your stepmom's response is to find a way to blame OP too. After the horrible, insensitive things her own child said, it sounds like she's deflecting. You're right not to take it personally. It's not about you at all. There's no relationship between you. Your parents do not know what they're doing. I work in the city. My commute is about 1.5 hours each way. My wife loves the place where we live and is a stay-at-home mom with our young grammar school-age son. Some days she and our son come into the city with me. They'll spend the day running errands or seeing the city. Sometimes she leaves them with her folks and comes in alone with me so she can spend the day alone or with friends. I work 4 10-hour days. That way, I work 40 hours and still get 3 days off. When I'm working, I don't have time to run errands. So on the days she comes in, I ask her to take care of some stuff. The problem is she often forgets to do what I need. She'll say it slipped her mind or she got too busy. So then I have to drive into town to take care of some stuff. The closest town is only a half hour, so it's not terrible, but there's also a limited selection of the stuff I need or the places that provide the services I require, and they are expensive. If I must, I'll drive into the city, wasting my time, fuel, and putting miles on my car. So for the last year, I've been asking her to text me everything she has on her list to get done for me, and then again around 4:30, so I know it's all been completed. She's been good about it, but she complains that I'm treating her like a child and that she'll remember to do everything she promised to do. So last week, I agreed that she could go back to her way, and she got carried away talking with her friends and didn't notice it was almost time to pick me up until I called her to let her know I'd be at a different office. She arrived to pick me up, and nothing she was supposed to do got done. I asked if we could please go back to the text, because she obviously needs them. She said yes, but she was upset with me for not trusting her. I do trust her, just not to remember to do what I need. Edit. Why don't I text her my list? I have. She forgets to look at it. I've given it to her written down. She loses it or forgets it in the car or at home. However, if she writes it herself, she seems to remember. Not the idiot. It's weird how she's saying you don't trust her not to do things when she clearly doesn't do them. If she has a better way that doesn't make her feel like a child, then fine. But for now, what you're proposing seems reasonable. Your wife is an adult, but doesn't want to act like it in this situation. It's not okay to repeatedly promise someone you'll do something, knowing that it's very likely you won't do it. It's childish and selfish. If you're being real, you spend almost a month every year just commuting. You work 10 hours a day, and your wife won't move closer to your job, but complains you take your off days to run errands. This sounds unsustainable in the long term. What does your wife expect? This almost sounds like weaponized incompetence. She has 10 hours to get stuff done and loses track of time frequently. With what? I have ADHD, and even I would have difficulty losing track of 10 hours. It's unclear, but are you asking your wife to text you a list of things she's planning on doing for you, and then texting you a progress report? You are the idiot. I would be incredibly resentful of this. You're micromanaging your partner, and it comes across as very controlling. If it's a forgetfulness issue, and you need to be able to rely on her, some sort of app would be better than you being the one to do the reminding, so that you're not building resentment.